in the top right corner, the regular at MLG, the third seeded player at this tournament. It is SLush.
And in the bottom left side, do not be fooled by his name. He was able to take down a lot of top players to get to the position he is at. It is Inori.
Now, on Zerg vs Protoss on this map, you're almost obligated to build that pylon at the top of your ramp, and Xel'Naga Caverns has honestly been slowly weeded out of a lot of tournaments. In fact, players are starting to regularly downvote it in the latter map play, so that really means that Inori might have a little bit less experience on this map. I know that a lot of Protosses have started to use every early expand build as their core crutch play, and that can be very disconcerting. And whoa, look at this, an assimilator before gateway.
Yeah, and this will allow him to get that additional gas, potentially going to be able to get out a lot of sentries here. And we're going to see here if he decides to expand on this map. Sean, you're mentioning that it's becoming pretty standard for Protoss to try to greedily expand in every single matchup on every single map, except for maybe like against a Protoss or something like that. And that's something, kind of the evolution we saw in StarCraft 1, where going for those early expands became extremely common. And here we go right now. It does look like Inori going to be walling in fairly standard here. And just one minor little tip is that your probes get your expansion a second or two earlier if you leave the choke open at the bottom side of that ramp.
That's very true. That can oftentimes just be a little bit of optimization that players need to get slightly more ahead. I do like the fact that he's doing this very early gas play. There's a couple of common strategies that you'll end up seeing. One is to go for a Stargate followed by a 4-gate all-in. One of the reasons it works is that you don't usually have enough gas to do it, but of course getting your gas first frees up that opportunity. Or he could just be beginning with a big sentry play at the start of the game and really wants to start racking up that gas fast.
Spawning pool first here out of SLush is nearly completed here. I think this is a pretty good map to do this. There's so many places, not only to put proxy pylons that you need to spot, but also for counterattack opportunities outside the natural, for getting surrounds, and just, you know, counterattacks in general. This is such a good map for it. So wouldn't be surprised to see the speed, and yeah, he does go ahead and start that right away. Has immediately pulled the drones off here. This is pretty standard stuff here out of SLush.
Yes, SLush really likes getting this Zergling speed upgrade build. I mean, I really think that this is standard on a lot of maps, but in particular on Xel'Naga Caverns, it is quite potent. Too difficult to hold off this expansion when it has that much space, and speed Zerglings are that maneuverable. And whoa, it looks like Inori is going to be going straight for some sort of DT play.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you can DT expand, and it is fairly effective on this map just because it's so small. You can find those Zerg units easily. It's not like, you know, Tal'Darim Altar where you're chasing around those units forever with the DTs. And this does force your opponent to be a little bit defensive because, simply put, they cannot attack you until they have lair tech. And why is that? Well, they're not able to spot the DTs. So it is a safe way to expand, but it does put your economy a little bit behind because with some builds, you're actually going for an expansion off of one gateway. So the expansion would have been going up already. And that's just my prediction. Is he going to make me look like a tool? We are about to find out as this probe is gearing up to at least build something here.
Uh-oh, it does look like he's getting increasingly close to that DT-friendly amount of 250 gas. Boom, the Dark Shrine has been planted. And will he go for a 1-gate expand, or will he be a little bit more standard, start adding on more gateways? He is building that pylon at the bottom of his ramp, and SLush is going to need to begin getting a very, very early evolution chamber.
Yeah, just throwing down those spore crawlers do allow the queens to kind of kite the DTs around while you try and get Zerglings and such to clean them up. We do have a macro hatch kind of in an awkward position. Not really awkward, but definitely peculiar for him. And I actually really like that positioning where it's kind of safely tucked back into the corner. We do have a lot of Zerglings on the right side just waiting for that expand to go down. But Inori goes ahead and grabs the 2 gateways on the low ground. So I have a feeling that SLush is going to get a good idea of what's going on here. He needs the force field, the ramp. No, he is going to get surrounded here with these first couple of Zerglings, and that is going to allow him into the main.
And there's the Dark Shrine. He can easily target fire it or just begin taking down all of these probes. And oh my god, accidentally attacking his own Nexus. SLush with the fierce opening, immediately building the macro hatch, immediately building the evolution chamber in absolutely delightful shape, having done massive amounts of pain to the opponent. Only 6 workers have been killed off, but this is a big momentum swing in his favor. And look at this. The Dark Shrine just now finishing. Inori will be forced to build a couple of DTs and hope they can do the needed damage. And SLush is just going to head on home with these Zerglings.
I honestly cannot believe he was able to do that much damage with those initial Zerglings. And it all came down to he forced the force field to try and prevent the death of the sentry, but then that just allowed those Zerglings to run into the main. You could see that Inori tried to prevent that from happening by placing a pylon outside or right by that choke just to wall it off for a little bit. So there was, it's one of those things where if he was able to do that a second earlier, he would have had a huge victory there. But with Speedlings, it's just getting completely out of control. Now the DTs are up here, going to try and cause some damage, but of course, SLush has had plenty of time to prepare for this. So I just don't know that these DTs are going to do the damage they need to, Sean.
And right now, I mean, really the only way that Inori can possibly come back in is if he starts to do some kind of aggression, either blink or just a huge warp gate push. Otherwise, SLush literally has complete and total freedom to do whatever he wants.
Yeah, I mean, he has Spore Crawlers everywhere. He has them at his natural. He even has them on the ramp to allow him to get a surround on those DTs when they try and sneak inside the main base. And the expansion for Inori is not even up and running yet, as he's been frantically trying to defend this. His economy, of course, was severely hurt by those Zerglings. Now, SLush doesn't have a huge amount of drones, but that's exactly why he's going to go ahead and start massing up on them right now.
And I love this, getting the double evolution chamber for +1/+1 upgrades. SLush absolutely loves doing the mass Zergling straight into Ultralisk play. And there it looks like a little bit of damage is being dealt by this Dark Templar, but SLush gets a good surround, and it looks like Inori does manage to slide away.
Yeah, that was good focus firing there on that DT, killing the one Zergling on the left side. And here comes the pesky little Spore Crawler, says, I see you. I just have to burrow to be able to actually see you. So there we go right there. The DT is going to have to evacuate out of there. And right now he's trying to use these for map control, which he can use them right now to deny a third base for SLush. But with the macro hatch in the main, I don't know that SLush needs a super early third here. He is beginning that lair tech though.
So we do see that SLush is continuing to build primarily Zerglings. He's getting his layer up. He is pretty well defended, but like you said, I mean, you need to have the layer tech up so that way you can get those Overseers. I mean, it's impossible to do any pressure otherwise, and it looks like Blink Stalker is going to be the push of choice from Inori, but, I mean, he's going for the Robo facility. This is pretty much guaranteed passivity for a very long time.
And I think that that's a really smart choice for Obsidian here to go ahead and do that. And we are going to be seeing right now that we have just the Zerglings breaking down the rocks here at to try and open up that third base. And that is so many Zerglings out of SLush. Yeah. I just realized how many he's been powering. He has 10 more on the way. He just wants to end this game, I would assume, right when this 1-1 finishes.
Well, interestingly enough, this style that I've seen SLush employ quite a few times doesn't need to do any sort of huge win right now. And wow, a Hydralisk Den being planted right now. I may very well be completely wrong in this spot. SLush may not opt to do any sort of long-term tech. May just try to crush the game with one large push involving Hydras and a huge amount of speed Zerglings.
And this is one of those situations as Protoss where you are just not feeling good. You can't really see exactly what's going on. There's too much detection. And he may be able to actually slip this DT up here. No, he gets surrounded there. SLush is going to be denying that scouting. That DT has officially left the game. And really, I don't know that our Protoss player is going to expect this, because what can he do to spot it? If he sends up an observer, it's going to get sniped. And I think that's exactly what he has to do, though, is sacrifice that observer to see what's going on. Because this is a lot of Zerglings, Sean. He is up to 109.
109 Lings on the map and a mere 16 Stalkers. And here it comes, getting completely surrounded. One blink is not enough. Oh, SLush doing incredible damage to these Blink Stalkers. There will be another blink, but SLush is not done yet. 24 more Zerglings in the fray. A complete surround, sweeping into that natural expansion line, and Inori's opening gets dominated by the pool play player SLush.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it comes down to the fact that that got spotted, and the Zerglings also got in the main, so he's able to protect himself against the DTs, as well as kill off a lot of probes. So what a very just crazy way here to start game number 1 between these two players. The Lings are still streaming in. There's 62 on the field. 8 more are being produced, and the +2/+2 has begun. I don't even think he has a single Hydralisk. Why build them at this point when, I mean, that's game's definitely over.
Good game. Reigns SLush with the very unusual but very well practiced mass Zergling opening. I mean, you get